fully formulated. That being said, I do want to move this item forward. But I also would like to add a recommendation if I could, and this is just based on the deadline of the CalFresh requirements, which will be June 1. And so this, we know obviously quickly. So I would like to add a number 3 to direct the chief administrative officer in coordination with the Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice.
Thank you, Chairperson Harris. Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to echo my gratitude to Dr. Jennifer Tudor, Jamie Dean, and Dr. Hernandez, and the entire HHS staff for all of their thoughtful and timely work around this very important effort. It's no overstatement that we're facing a real coverage cliff here. As was mentioned, District 1 does carry a disproportionate share of that risk. And barriers to consistent care. That is why centering this and ensure requirements. I think all 6 options presented are thoughtful and responsive to community needs. However, I would like to highlight the options that I feel will most affect infrastructure, which is essential. I also support option 5 as part of a broader system that connects fares and live well on wheels, help close geographic gaps and bring care. Expanding brick and mortar up from capital, licensing, and staffing. Need approaches that are both cost conscious and rapidly deployable. I also want to emphasize in San Diego County, no one should believe that losing coverage means losing access to care. We need clear communication and rapid re-enrollment pathways to prevent unnecessary gaps in treatment. As this moves forward, it is important that the final plan reflect the realities of all of our districts, but especially District 1, which is going to be the most impacted, where the risk and impact are highest. I would also like to see a clear strategy for coordination with community clinics, hospitals, and trusted partners already serving these populations. I also want to express my support for the added recommendation. I think it's wonderful. Thank you for always having that on your radar. The food insecurity is a big one for me too, so I really appreciate your thoughtful addition to this motion, and I look forward to seeing the pilot implemented in a way that meets the urgency of this moment and that can be scalable across the county. And with that, I'm happy to second on this picture.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it. This is a very interesting article, and I do think we should be utilizing our live well centers as best we can, providing the services that residents need. However, I'm not in favor. I'm glad that this is just basically coming back to a plan, and I think we heard from many of the residents, especially the healthcare providers today, that we shouldn't be competing with each other. We should be working together. So I don't think the county should be in the business of duplicating the work that our great health clinics and partners already do. This option is extremely costly, and where the county, I think, and not where the county should be investing. And I do agree with one of the speakers, every dollar that could potentially go out to any of these options in this report should go to self-sufficiency services to ensure that we're fulfilling our responsibilities. And I think the county's role is to ensure that those who are eligible for benefits continue to receive those benefits. That we make sure the ones that people that need it continue to get the benefits. Our primary concern should be that no one who's eligible for CalFresh, Medi-Cal loses coverage because we haven't invested in our department properly. healthcare partners that represent 17 healthcare providers, including TrueCare, San Ysidro Health, and these efforts. So I'm going to go ahead and support the item today. These efforts. So I'm going to go ahead and support the item today, and then take a look at the plan that comes back, and hopefully the pilot program doesn't include some of these more expensive options right away, and then I'll take a look at the options when they come forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Go back to the next chair.
Just really quick, I appreciate that, Supervisor. And I really just want to be clear that we have been collaborative in this effort, and we've been communicating a lot with all of our healthcare partners. And so I appreciate that support and agree with you, but just want to make sure that as staff develops the pilot that we're leaving all the options on the table. But I do appreciate you. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we have not left anyone out of these conversations. We've been very actively engaged in our conversations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a motion on the floor in a second. Please vote.
Chair Lawson Marino, the motion passes unanimously. All supervisors vote present, voting aye.
Okay, thank you all very much. So we now move on to item number 28, which is the return on
Good morning, Chair Lawson Marino, members of the board. To address the growing
folks who are leaving, please, if you would be respectful of the president, and if you can shut the door to our deputy standing there, we would like to shut so that, sir, can we get the door shut? Back.
Good morning, Chair Lawson Marino, members of the board. To address the growing public health concern of youth mental health, the board approved actions in September of 2024 to create behavioral health continuum.
Hold on, not yet, pause. There's two people who've got that.
Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. You guys don't have a quorum. I'd like to take over the meeting, Robert's rules of order. I'm serious. You guys have no quorum. You can't. That's valid, what I just said.
I agree.
It is, they don't have a quorum, they can't be doing business. And you didn't pause the meeting. So under Robert's Rules of Order, the board can actually take it over. And you're just gonna ignore me. Oh my gosh, wow. You had no quorum, Andrew. I just invoked Robert's Rules of Order. When you guys don't have a quorum, you didn't pause the meeting. You guys know it. Wow.
Okay, we're back in session. Please go ahead, Maggie.
Thank you. To address the growing public health concern of youth behavioral health, the board approved actions in September of 2024 to create a health continuum framework for youth and transition-age youth, okay? Today, we are returning to present the care pathways model for youth OCP model, which was developed based on analytic modeling, and we will outline strategies to improve engagement and expand access to care. The youth OCP model promotes well-being amidst the increasing anxiety, depression, bullying, suicide risk, and social media influence, and it emphasizes strengthening family supports. The model was developed in collaboration with key county partners, including Child and Family Wellbeing, the First Five Commission, along with external stakeholders, as well as continuing education students, were asked about key mental health indicators. At the time of the survey, 28% reported feeling chronic sadness in the past year, and 10% seriously considered attempting suicide. 36% said they felt lonely, and 24% reported feeling emotional distress. Although 68% of the students reported emotional support from an adult at home, the survey suggests nearly 1/3 may lack a strong support system at home. DHS recognizes that collective effort to ensure youth are successful in accessing and staying connected to care. Collaboration is needed, which are illustrated on this slide. Each plays a distinct role and carries specific responsibilities and funding driven by statutory requirements, all of which shape how the system supports youth. As a region, stakeholders come together to inform and strengthen services for young people. Stakeholder engagement was critical to informing the recommendations that will be presented today. Beginning in April 2025, DHS conducted numerous engagement activities to hear from those who are most central to the youth system of care. The Behavioral Health Services Act, or BHSA, community program planning process was also leveraged to ensure alignment with broader system strategies. In total, 200 stakeholders, including youth and their families, community-based organizations, education and healthcare partners, advocacy groups, and health and human services agency staff participated, providing both written comments and verbal feedback. And several insights emerged. First, early behavioral health concerns are often identified at home or in school, highlighting the importance of caregivers and educators in observing health changes and helping kids connect to care. Second, stakeholders emphasize the importance of culturally responsive services in everyday settings. Third, schools were identified as accessible and trusted entry points for early mental health support, especially when services are available on campus and when care pathways are clear and coordinated with families. Finally, stakeholders highlighted the importance of strong coordination that allows schools, providers, and CBOs to share information to align interventions. In alignment with what we've learned, today's action requests authorization for the procurement of school-based early intervention programs, as well as direction to establish departments and healthcare entities. As mentioned earlier, collective commitment across party and understanding is necessary across key areas, including the needs of youth and families and the level of services required, the county's scope and responsibility for services, including crisis and acute care, and the regional landscape to ensure partnerships, support, and as a county behavioral health plan, our statutory responsibility is to provide specialty care services for Medi-Cal eligible youth with significant mental health and substance use conditions. Currently, DHS funds a broad network of treatment services as part of the broader ecosystem. As of September 2025, more than 373,000 youth and young adults aged 0 to 25 in San Diego County were enrolled in Medi-Cal. Based on state-level survey data, about 27%, or 100,000, are estimated to have a need for some level of mental health treatment. And of those 100,000 youth, about 67,000 meet criteria for specialty mental health services through BHS. Yet only about 19,000 received BHS services last year. Additionally, among San Diego youth ages 12 to 25 enrolled in Medi-Cal, approximately 40,000 need substance use treatment. These figures highlight the importance of expanding engagement, access, and service capacity so all young people who need care are able to receive it. With that, I will now hand the presentation over to Yale to outline the framework of the Youth OCP model.
Thank you, Nadia. The Youth OCP was developed with several key principles main age groups were considered: early childhood, latency age, adolescents, and young adults through the age of 25. The model is also informed by local penetration rates and how San Diego County compares to state benchmarks, which indicates that our network needs to serve more youth. Next, it remains critical that youth are connected to outpatient care, where families can get support to build new skills, address trauma, and build long-term wellness. Diversion from emergency departments, when possible, is important because there are more effective support in dedicated crisis response settings. Access to intensive community-based services and smooth transitions across levels of care is also a key focus. Lastly, ensuring adequate access with community-based care is not sufficient. Residential capacity is also imperative to ensure youth do not remain in acute care settings long-term. These guiding principles inform the development of the Youth Optimal Care Plan model, which focuses on which also align with the strategic behavioral health initiative. Next, we will review each of those areas. For early intervention and outpatient care, it's important to note that the transition from the Mental Health Service Act to the Behavioral Health Service Act, or BHSA, shifts prevention funding to the state, with counties focused on early intervention. Early intervention includes outreach, access and linkage to care, and mental health and substance use treatment. The youth OCP model assumes that every youth will have access to early intervention and outpatient services to support healing and prevent symptoms escalation. The model projects capacity growth over the next 5 years. These numbers are dynamic and expect to evolve. As the landscape changes, so does the model. The outpatient mental health services, we are projecting the growth of 2%, or just under 5,000 additional units through the age of 25. For substance use outpatient treatment, the focus is on youth ages 12 through 17, and the model projects a 43% increase, or nearly 300 additional youth who should have access to care that is designed in mind. Expanding capacity in this area will help divert youth from emergency departments and into more appropriate crisis response settings. Crisis services that serve youth include crisis stabilization unit, multi-crisis response teams, and a new crisis residential program, which would allow for a more prolonged crisis treatment episode needed to achieve stabilization. Over the next 5 years, the model projects a 164% growth in crisis services, representing about 5,000 additional youth. Intensive community-based services are also instrumental in preventing hospitalization and serving as a step down from acute care. Wraparound services offer care coordination focused on strengthening natural support systems and preventing out-of-home placements. The county is also looking at opportunities to expand mental health, intensive outpatient programs, and partial hospitalization programs, or IOP and PHP, which have been long available in the private sector and are now available within the county system. These programs allow youth to receive intensive services during the day while continuing to reside with their caregivers. For substance use treatment, the county has redesigned its approach for outpatient treatment, allowing programming to focus on delivering intensive services. Over the next 5 years, the model projects 72% growth in mental health services, representing more than 450 additional youth, and 127% growth in substance use services, or nearly 90 additional youth in fiscal year. growth in residential services is relatively modest, with an estimated increase of 25% of mental health services and 42% for substance use services. Overall, there is a projected growth across each level of care over the next 5 years. The model prioritizes early intervention and outpatient services while also strengthening crisis response, intensive community-based care, and residential treatment when needed. The largest growth is projected in crisis. And now we will highlight several ongoing efforts to enhance youth services locally. First, mobile crisis response teams, or MCRTs, have expanded to school campuses through partnership with the County Office of Education and school districts, and utilization continues to grow. The new Children's Crisis Residential Care Facility, funded through Proposition 1 funds, is being developed within a vacant space adjacent to the Polinsky Children's Campus. When completed in 2027, it will be the first of its kind in the state. In addition, the youth crisis stabilization unit remains a vital part of the crisis network by offering support to youth experiencing crisis and engaging their caregivers. DHS is assessing the need for additional CSU capacity that would support youth regionally, including a hybrid model that serves youth and adults. To ensure effective engagement in the services outlined in the youth OCD, DHS has introduced 3 pillars that ground this work. The first pillar focused on school-based strategies. We recognize schools as a natural access point and critical partner in supporting youth behavioral health. Identify strategies to strengthen enhancements to mobile crisis response teams, supporting data-driven evaluations of student needs, engagement, and outcomes, working with school districts to redesign services offered on school campuses to ensure they're sustainable long-term, and leveraging the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative fee schedule, which allows schools to bill for outpatient services at no cost to families. Today's action requests authorization for the competitive procurement of 2 early intervention programs, the School-Based Incredible Years and the School-Based Skill Building Program, which have been redesigned to allow for Medi-Cal repairs. The second pillar focuses on strengthening family systems. It recognizes the critical role caregivers play in supporting children, for which we outlined several key strategies. DHS will leverage state initiatives to expand evidence-based practices that support a family system approach. It also emphasizes creating culturally and developmentally appropriate environments and connecting youth and families to enriching care spaces. In addition, DHS will strengthen partnership with community organizations to improve access to supportive environments for youth and families that thrive. And lastly, improved data sharing across care system will remain a key strategy, so providers can better understand each youth's needs and effectively coordinate care. Today's action requires authorization to update or establish data sharing agreements across county departments, including DHS, Child and Family Wellbeing, and Probation. And finally, through healthcare integration, DHS seeks to create additional access points with trusted medical providers to extend the reach of our workforce. Key strategies include exploring financially sustainable partnerships with hospital systems and other providers to enhance integrated care, increasing collaboration with managed care plans, particularly by maximizing the use of Medi-Cal covered services, and continuing to advocate for state policy changes that make integrated behavioral health more sustainable, including simplified billing requirements and reliable
authorize competitive procurements for school-based incredible years and school-based skill building programs, establish or update data sharing agreements between the County of San Diego departments, and authorize formal discussions with local hospitals and managed care plans to establish data sharing agreements. Thank you. This concludes our presentation. We are now available for questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Andrew, let's close on our public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Next up, we have 12 requests to speak on this item, 4 in person and 8 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 40 comments, 3 in support and 1 in opposition. For any individuals that requested to speak on item 28 by phone, please dial in the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward. Again, because there are 10 more speakers on the side, you have 1 minute to address the board. I'd like to invite forward the individuals in person: Alfredo Aguirre, Alexi Audra, Caesar House. Please come forward. State your name for the audio record.
Members of the board, good morning. My name is Alfredo Aguirre. It's good to be back after 7 years. I am the chair of the Strategic Behavioral Health Initiative, also known as SBHI, a coalition of pediatric and youth psychiatrists, school-based mental health providers, substance use experts, and community-based organizations and county representatives serving San Diego County's 672,000 children and youth. San Diego County has a rich history in children's mental health system development. In fact, under the board's leadership, San Diego County established the first separate children's mental health department in the state in 1999, later to be reintegrated with the adult mental health system. I'm speaking to you today because we support the Youth Optimal Care Pathway Framework and the corresponding actions before you today. In addition to my comments, our coalition submitted letters to the board. We're ready to work with you. Thank you very much.
I'll call your name, you report in any order.
Woe to you guys, this is so egregious what's happening to children in this county at the direction of this board and your staff and the behavioral health. Matthew 18:6 and Luke 17:2, I suggest you read it because it would be better for you to have a millstone hung around your neck than to make one of these little ones stumble. You guys are putting children through behavioral health therapy because they are having a hard time being ripped apart from their families. You're putting them on psychotropic drugs. You are encouraging their behavior to change so that they don't get upset when they don't see their mother, like Malika and Zaya Robinson have been put through.
Thank you. We're here again to voice our concern and our will to help our government. You see this, Mom River? This is air pollution reader. And the toxicity that is killing us impacts the creation of God in His image. We saw you, Mom Rimmer, how you cared of your child in your lap during the APCD meeting last December of 2024. Thank you for showing us your concern to children. And what is APCD doing? Air Pollution Control District is for business. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, Catherine Rose, and first, the presentation was not part of the backup documentation, so I'm not prepared to speak fully. In the future, please actually have it there so I can see. And how many of those are going to be in the new building next to the Police Center? I didn't actually get that. And then I want to tell you about, again, my issues, and I rate everything at 5%. It's a crime. Child Protective Services for our family had over 30 calls for intervention from schools, from doctors, from everybody. And the child was only given, and then went to the Polinsky Center, and the child was only given the opportunity of going back to her abuser, or she wasn't allowed to be in kid placement with me. Now she is in kid placement. She actually got a violence restraining order for physical abuse, sexual abuse, coercive control, everything. And your policies all have that, but they refuse to give us a safety plan. You forced your staff to actually give safety plans for children who are speaking out. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. And we'll start with our first caller.
Although I was looking forward to a report from behavioral health of some real progress, but what have we got for money? Pretty much nothing, apparently. Instead, we get stuck in our meaningless phrases. They just quote a survey with a lot of quote may. And you want to spend our money on that? On page 13, the board letter says the county was awarded an $8 million Prop 1 behavioral health continuum infrastructure grant funding to build a new children's crisis care facility, which will add a whole 60 new beds within the Polinsky Center building. With all the crimes and crap at the Polinsky Center, 60 more beds there with all that stuff going on is a total waste of money. 18 months without positive results.
Thank you. We'll hear from the next caller.
Good morning. My name is Becky Rath, and I want to start by recognizing the work behind the behavioral health framework, because expanding access and focusing on youth is absolutely the right direction. But I would like to raise one concern. Are we truly building a continuum of care? It must include prevention, and that means directly addressing youth marijuana use as a contributing factor to this behavioral health crisis. We're seeing rising rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide risk among young people, and research shows clear links between adolescent marijuana use and worsening mental health outcomes, including increased suicidal thoughts and risk of psychosis. Yet this plan focuses heavily on treatment and little attention to preventing substance use. I support this effort, and I urge you to strengthen it by including meaningful marijuana prevention education, because a true continuum doesn't just respond to crisis, it works to prevent it. Thank you very much.
We'll now hear from the next caller.
It's true. Here's Marilla's comments on every item. Trump, 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 Trump. Isn't it ironic? We complain about federal policy changes, but then bend over and take a knee for some state policy changes that harm children. The Behavioral Services Act targets children with tests and drugs while at school without parental knowledge or consent. And $10 million anti-child items proposes sharing children's private health data with county departments and private hospitals. This is child exploitation. According to HHS Clearinghouse, there's only been one study of the school-based Incredible Years program, which consists of social-emotional brainwashing videos for 6-year-olds with a fake diagnosis of oppositional defiant disorder. And it consisted of almost all white boys in Washington. So much for equity data-driven decisions. IT consultant Malaysia Guzman gets 2 paychecks by working for both Incredible Years and its parent corporation and Howard Community Care. I don't want this board anywhere near children. No programs, nothing. Leave the children alone. Go audit Polinsky or East Mesa and then come back and tell me you care.
Thank you. Hear from the next caller.
Amigo Solo. So yeah, pointing out the obvious marijuana use is dispute, but it's, the true prevention is acknowledging the source of the problem, and that is the system. So, I mean, you talk about marijuana all you want, but it's an escape. So until you get to the root of the problem, which is the system of why they need to escape, then you're never going anywhere. Anyway, okay, so of course there's no support at home. The system has taken the place of strong family units. It's done everything in its power to destroy the family unit. The system has taken the place of moms and dads. Schools have encouraged for those students to hide things from their parents, like altering things. I mean, it's not rocket science to see the pattern and the result of why things are the way they are. The system creates weak, vulnerable, docile, dependent beings, and then wonder why these children are at risk. Nothing is solid anymore. Nothing is guaranteed anymore. The only thing that we rely on is, at this point, is the system is a consistent failure. Crisis after crisis, you know, that's the business. You can't have a product without a target demographic. Early intervention, you can't have healing. How will you fill the jails?
Thank you. I'll hear the next call.
Good morning, Chair and Supervisors. My name is Erin Hoboom. I'm the Director of San Diego for Every Child, co-lead of Children's Rights Collective, a supporter of the SBHI Collective Comment, and a mother of a 4-year-old. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. First, I want to recognize BHS for advancing this important work amid significant system changes and multiple overlapping mandates. These efforts are really appreciated. In particular, I'm encouraged to see an action item for data sharing. My main concern is, with this iteration of the plan, is just that young children and their caregivers are largely absent, even though we know mental and behavioral health needs often emerge early. The plan also leans heavily towards crisis response, which looks very different across age ranges and risks reinforcing a reactive system instead of one rooted in prevention. I urge the county to explicitly include children, especially young children, and support the cross-departmental sharing on their access and wait times through stronger collaboration with First 5, the Children's Family Wellbeing Department in schools, to strengthen prevention and early intervention in the form of early.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final call.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Ann Riddle, retired social worker and now volunteering with youth programs, from which I am calling today. I would like the fact that we're spotlighting this situation. I think we miss a great deal on this continuum. First of all, I didn't hear enough about transitional youth, and as all of us who work in foster care know, that tragic age of 18 to 25 who come out of foster care without the help and support they need really needs to be addressed, and of course contributes to their mental health and substance abuse. But we forget prevention, particularly community-based and family-based prevention strategies. Parents are the first line of defense for our young people, because that's who, after all, spends the most time with them. Then come our schools, but then come our communities. And it becomes very incumbent upon us in the community to send messages to our young people that this is a safe place, and that we know and will provide for them a safe environment. That our streets will look clean, our neighborhoods will be well lit, and that we
Thank you. We'll now hear from our final call.
You know, it's surprising to me because you are actively trying to separate families because you make money off of it. It generates money for California, every family you separate. It generates money for all the programs and all that stuff. I mean, hell, didn't you guys add like $10,000 for every person that they could put into foster care? You're basically creating a lot of victims, and you're profiting off of that. And then you go ahead and claim that you're actually wanting to help these people? That's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it's the same reason why you keep the whole COVID mandate. That's why you allow problems to fester, because you can make money off of it. That is why you're not going to do a damn thing about the landfill until it becomes a critical issue where you're going to make money off of it. Instead of doing something preemptive,
Just want to, before we move to board discussion, thank the team. This item was in response to a board letter I brought quite some time ago. I want to give context to that for both my colleagues and members of the public who might not recall the origin, but we've made a pretty much a 180 shift on how we tackle behavioral health in San Diego County over the last 5 years. From a model that really just looked at being the behavioral health provider of last resort, when people had spiraled down and down and down and had nowhere else to go and we had to meet a legal obligation, to instead thinking about how do we help people before things become so terrible, and how do we be more proactive in getting people the care they need, both because it's the right and humane thing to do, but also because it's the significantly more effective and cost-effective way of intervening. We know that it is significantly more expensive to treat folks once they're sort of in a schizophrenic state or in a psychiatric hospital or really struggling with addiction and things being really, really bad. And so that was the origin of kind of the shift in how we are tackling behavioral health across our region in general, which is amazing, and really appreciate the partnership of everyone on this board as it really being a bipartisan effort to transform and make more effective and more cost effective, both things, how we tackle helping people in San Diego County. But there was a significant gap in that optimal care pathways, or as I prefer to call it, the care before crisis model. And that gap is for young people, for youth, because you do have different, not just different needs, but also there's different gaps, different kinds of providers, different kinds of services. And so I asked the team to really take a look at how to take the model of an optimal care pathway that we developed for adults and apply it to young people. And I think you all did an amazing job. Really appreciate the work that's gone into stakeholders, because our stakeholders are the ones who are boots on the ground, sort of closest every single day to what things are by young people. So we got to just keep moving forward. Do think it's important to make sure the whole board is fully informed. So I do hope that my colleagues who maybe have been a little bit less close to the details of this can take an opportunity to ask you any questions. Again, as I know that although there's a lot of areas of disagreement on our board, this is definitely one area of congruence that we've all been rowing in the same direction. So with that, just thanks again, and I'll open the board discussion. Chair Pro Tem Green.
Well, thank you for your leadership on this issue. It's incredibly important, and it's important for us to make the way that we reach our youth more efficient and more effective. So thank you for that work, and I thank the team for it as well. We know that we have at least 100,000 youth enrolled, well, 373,000 youth enrolled in Medi-Cal, and at least 30% of them need mental health treatment. But we know that at least 1 in 3 don't have access to care. So, and that is a reality. So I think this proposal moves us in the right direction. I know that we need to turn this into consistent delivery. So that means having a workforce, building our workforce and building our capacity in a way that translates real engagement and in a way that gets to our young people earlier and more consistently. So I'm very supportive of the item and hope to see it become something that our youth can really use. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, I'm happy to move that in. Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Let's go ahead and vote.
Chair Lawson Reagan, the motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Well, so it's just kind of like trying to get ourselves in order for the remainder of our meeting.
Life anxiety, creating mental illness.
A reminder to please be respectful in the chamber and allow us to conduct our business. If people are disruptive, you will be asked. So obviously we had a lot going on yesterday. We're still in yesterday on our items, and then we also still have closed session today, plus our land use items. So I had my team kind of map out when we're going to finish, based if we just sort of continue on with all the items and in order. This is going to almost 8 o'clock today. So trying to figure out some efficiencies here. There has been, it's been communicated to Andrew that the following items would like to either be continued or withdrawn. So I wanted to address those now. Now then at least we can maybe finish by 6:30 instead of 8. That would be preferable, I should say. So what I do know, let me just put this up there. I know that item 20, which is Anderson's item, it seems appropriate to continue that item. So I would make a motion to continue that item. I know that nine, I think this was your item,
For Wednesday.
What? And you wanted for Wednesday, you wanted to continue that item?
Sure.
Okay. So we have 2 items, because I think you have to leave, so we wouldn't get to it, and we'll be gone. So, okay. So we have item 9, we will have item 9 that will continue. Item 20 that I would, this would be my motion to continue items 9, item 20. And if there's any other items that folks don't want to take today, now would be time to mention that, and we take this as a bundle.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to withdraw item number 22.
Okay, so there's, looking at withdrawing item 22, that's a motion from Supervisor Geary. Looking at continuing item 20 and item. Any other items that people want to make sure they talk, that they're here for? I think Supervisor Desmond, I'm somewhat concerned, I think you have another item.
At 25, but it should be fairly quick.
Okay.
It's controversial.
Oh.
It is.
Okay. I don't know, maybe, but we'll see. Okay, so we'll continue on with that. Any other items from the CEO that you'd like to continue?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so we've got those 3 items. I think and so if there's a second to that, then we can take public comment, and then we'll be able to continue these items, continue those 2 items and withdraw that one item.
Second.
Okay. Great. Do you want to repeat that, Andrew, so it's clear?
Thank you, Chair Lossenreiner. For the record, the motion by Chair Lossenreiner, seconded by Supervisor Desmond, is to continue item 20 to the next meeting, April 21st, withdraw item 22, and continue item 9 to the next land use session, which is April 22nd.
Okay.
I have a quick question. So for the land use items on consent, are any of them affordable items that you did not get from this availability?
There are. So we're trying to get there before we lose Supervisor Desmond.
Okay.
So, okay. Great. Okay. So let's go ahead and take public comment.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Items 20, 22, and 9 on the land use session agenda can speak to. Speaking on, I will note for the record that we have 16 speakers on these items, 6 in person and 10 requesting to speak by phone. And I'll note that we received 2 e-comments in support for item 20, 1 e-comment in opposition for item 22, and the record for item 9 at the moment. For those who requested to speak by phone on items 20, 22, and 9, please dial on the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the individual speakers. As your name is called, please go forward. I'd like to invite for the first 3 individuals, Leslie Audra, Speaker Javier, and Enrique Christopherson. And I'll note for the record that item 9 had 1 e-comment.
I just feel like you guys can't even plan a meeting out. So that, I mean, if you knew yesterday you have all these time certain items, why are we stacking? What's happening? Why are you, Jen? I feel like you're trying to cut my throat or something. Thank you, Andrew. You started it over? Or you didn't start? I should have said nothing. Let's just keep going, right? Yes, so, I mean, if you guys can't plan a meeting productively when you know that yesterday there's all these time certain items and you stack the deck so thick that we can't even get business done, because you guys got to get out of here, right? You guys have things you got to do. No need to spend time really helping things. But, you know, it's good because pretty much anything that you guys do in the past is very egregious. Just like that last item, you know, putting children into a psychiatric ward at the Zelensky Center. That place should be burned to the ground. I literally hope one of the children does it and they get everybody out in the process, because those places, and when you do business like that, I mean, it's great if you continue it, because then it gives us a little bit more time without you guys destroying the world around us, all while you ask us to pay you more money to do it. So, I'd like to give a moment of silence to all the children that are being abused by you guys right now.
We have been studying our Constitution only to determine, find out in these processes the word accountability. And we are approaching to the limit of our intelligence. All these items are very important. These are all meant to ensure that San Diegans will survive for a few more years, particularly the victims of toxicity like us. A neighborhood who established, located, and operated a toxic generating home business. And the worst is the neglect and ignorance, or whatever adjective we could say, or verb, the victims of the Tijuana River Valley pollution crisis. These are all the rays or the angular approaches, hopefully. Thank you for your literacy. Thank you for intelligence. We're ready to take over.
Catherine Rhodes, Laura Irwin, and Maureen O'Connor.
Place here. Enrique Christopherson for item 9. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Enrique Christopherson. My company is called Response Ready CPR1, and we're a woman small business located in Oceanside, your district, sir. With the recent passage of AB 310, many organizations are now navigating how to meet the new AD requirements in a compliant and sustainable way. I'm reaching out to you as a potential partner based in San Diego County who shares your commitment to protecting the well-being of our residents. I would welcome the opportunity to collaborate and explore how we might work together to facilitate AEDs, help the county, sports, and community organizations understand their responsibilities under AB 310, provide guidance, cost-effective, compliant AED implementation maintenance, expand accessible cardiac emergency resources throughout the San Diego County, strengthen public awareness and community preparedness. I thank you for your continued leadership, your dedication to the safety of the communities that you serve, sir. I look forward to the possibilities of partnering with you. Thank you.
Hello, Catherine Rhodes, and I'm here for number 20, establishing a framework for board of supervisors ad hoc subcommittee that demonstrates transparency and accountability. Thank you, Supervisor, I believe Desmond and Gary. I think you're bringing this forward. You know, what I would like to add is I would like the ad hoc subcommittees that we're not allowed to know when they are, or, you know, even what was on the agenda. I would like them to have at least the agenda, and I would like them to be video, just like this meeting is video, so we can see it on YouTube and see what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about. And if it's money, I know where the money is. I would love to be able to present your financial funding opportunity, so that we can spend all this money to help as many people as possible. So thank you so much for bringing it back. I'll wait for next time it comes forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Final call for Laura Irwin or Maureen Connor. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. Start with our first caller.
You know, I don't know why I try to still maintain faith that some of you guys will recognize what you're doing is wrong and seeing out that you can take and get off the dependence of the NGOs. But I'm beginning to think that that is just a dream. A dream that you actually want to go ahead and help us instead of self-birth, you know. You're setting up your kids' future by the actions that you're taking place today. You're going to make it nearly impossible for your kids to progress. I hope because right now we can go ahead and generate a lot of money recycling plastic and fix our infrastructure and fund a lot of projects that would.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Paul Gold, on number 20, having all the agendas and that in place would be a great improvement. It would make research easier, increase transparency, and promote public discourse, and hopefully more good ideas. In fact, 2 supervisors just claimed they can run an ad hoc committee without complying with the Brown Act requirements like notice, agenda, and minutes, and they apparently even issued contracts. It might be a bit expensive, but I think it would be well worth it to subject these ad hoc committees to the Brown Act standards of open government. Since the committees do not seem to be covered, and they may be created to maintain secrecy in government. The county motto is the noblest motive is the public good, so show it. 9 is an interesting item, perhaps it's
Hello, this is Peggy Walker. I just want to say that the steamrolling yesterday of item 19 seems to have evolved without adequate public awareness or notification to the district attorney. It's a prime example of why we need item 20, the transparency and accountability framework. No validated data demonstrating need for the separate unit was presented, or validation for the cost. This essentially duplicates the successful existing unit in the DSA's office, but there was no validation for the county to effectively operate it and responsibly control the funding. In spite of Superintendent Anderson's request to stay the vote, to consult constituents and suggestions by the DA for coordination, the chair.
Okay, close public here, and looking at item 20. And, yeah, just ditto to everything Paul mentioned, Paul DeBold, and, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm paying attention, I'm tired, I'm hungry. And, yeah, on to the next item. Thank you.
Thank you. One more caller join the queue.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. Thank you for this opportunity to mention my support for item 20. I'm really appreciative that this item was brought forward by our Supervisor Anderson and Gary. This means a great deal to me because I've always thought the Board of Supervisors does its work in the dark. And you don't seem to have a committee process or a commission process like all the other cities that surround us here in the unincorporated area that allow us to come in and talk about wide-ranging issues. The excuse given that it's just for a short period of time just doesn't fly. We all have the same issues we've had them for decades. We need committees that operate, that give us the chance as people here across the county to come in and share what's important to us. That old saying that things prosper in the sunshine holds more true than ever. To do things in the dark that we don't have access to, don't know about, can't understand. So,
Thank you. Chair Losberg, that concludes public comments for these items.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll give a motion on the floor in a second. Please vote.
Chair Losberg, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to take item 21 and then after that we'll go to lunch. We can take the public remarks for item 21 to kick us off before we go to public comment. This is just part of an ongoing drumbeat, right? Which is to really focus on everything we can do to save taxpayer money, particularly this time of fiscal constraint, fiscal uncertainty. And it's always a priority. It always needs to be centered and top of mind for how we can be as efficient and fiscally responsible to people's hard-earned taxpayer dollars, and that is constantly. But I think that at this moment there's just a requirement to be even more diligent and even more focused. So, as we face this federal withdrawal and a lot of economic uncertainty, rising oil prices, etc., we clearly can't control what happens in Washington, but we can focus responsibly on what we steward. So we've been looking very hard at our own operations, looking for every efficiencies and save taxpayer funding. So we previously brought other items that looked at taxpayer savings and county office space, on phasing out old tech like fax machines, on fire station upkeep maintenance. So fire stations, fire responders, first responders could change their own light bulbs. This item looks at our county fleet. It's not the kind of thing that ends up in the headlines, but it is a really important efficiency. For context, we have about 4,500 vehicles, and not all of them are fully utilized, and we rely on departments to self-report usage data. So this item will add GPS to get objective numbers, identify what vehicles can be retired and move to work at the shared county system, so departments redeploy between operations before they buy new vehicles, which will mean lower maintenance costs and avoided capital costs over time. So proud to be part of a fiscal subcommittee that's focused on fiscal responsibility, and we'll turn it over to Vice Chair Montgomery Sutton.
Thank you so much, Chair Losberg, for your collaboration on this item, and I would also like to thank county staff. While we cannot control funds lost from both federal and state government, we can control how responsibly we steward public resources and protect the services our residents depend on. So through the work work of the Sustainable Fiscal Planning Subcommittee, we're committed to continuously finding smart and effective ways to cut costs for our taxpayers. This item is part of a broader effort by the county and the Sustainable Fiscal Planning Subcommittee to identify efficiencies and cost-saving opportunities before any service reductions are considered. An effort that has already begun to see savings through modernizing county communications technology and centralizing space management. For this item, county staff estimates 104 vehicles could potentially be reduced from the fleet, potentially saving the county approximately $5 million to $5.3 million in cost avoidance over the useful life of a vehicle. This figure reflects both avoided vehicle replacement costs and reduced life cycle maintenance expenses. For example, to replace an existing vehicle, the average cost for a new electric vehicle is $77,000. Annual average of about $1,100 per vehicle, $1,100 per vehicle for 5 to 7 years for overhead and maintenance costs, totaling between $5,500 and $7,700. Thus, depending on whether the vehicle is gas, hybrid, or electric, the county saves between $48,000 and $77,000 for each vehicle that is not replaced. Better utilization data will allow the county to identify further opportunities to streamline the vehicle fleet. We will continue to find creative and innovative ways of savings on costs, always prepare for the impacts of HR 1. And thank you in asking for the support of my colleagues there. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to public comment and we'll have board discussion.
Thank you, Chair Lawson. We have 6 requests to speak on this item, 2 in person and 4 requesting to speak by phone. Also note we received 1 e-comment that was neutral. For any individuals that request to speak on item 21 by phone, please dial in the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, like to for allegedly Audra and Cesar Javier. 2 minutes.
Interesting, you guys are funny because you really, some people actually believe you and think you're actually saving us money. You're just spending on something else that we don't need. $77,000 for an electric vehicle. Is that really, you feel like that's fiscally responsible to be getting these vehicles and then putting them on the roads that are crap, and then the weight of them just destroys it even more, costing us more money, that really isn't going to be spent on the roads. I mean, the idea is to get us out of our cars, so I'm wondering how that fits into this. So if that's the agenda, think about how much money we would save if you just got rid of all those cars. So we don't even need them. People can walk and bike, right? And take public transport. You could offer up some, kind of bus pass and stuff like that. We could give skates. People could do that, you know what I mean, and really just help our greenhouse gases, because I know that is so important to reduce those, right? And that's why we buy electric vehicles, because it reduces those. Because you don't need gas to mine for lithium and cobalt, And water, like in the Salton Sea, we're taking all our fresh water. But that's okay. That is also fiscally responsible when we're trying to make batteries, like 325 million of them, you know what I mean? That's more important. And what else? And then, the data centers, that also takes our fresh water. Who cares? Because we're going to give people back their own sewage. It's good. Those things are fiscally responsible. So I'm so glad you guys are saving us money. Thank you. I didn't know if I was going to get a check in the mail. Is it do we get a refund for the money that we... No? Right. Just going to go into your pockets. Good job.
Thank you. In my simple calculation, if you are after saving money. Thank you. Are we saving lives, Congressman? You know, these streets are poison emitting vehicles. The focus should be, how do we make them emit cleaner air? To save lives than money. You are a member of the governing board since, along with Mayor Gloria, along with the absentee Councilman Rivera, a colonizer from Nicaragua. My God, my God. And here, District 4, whose artists chronicling the crisis in Tijuana River. Now when the investigations is coming in, oh, they hide those artistic evidences. Where is it now, Mom Mystic? My God, your lives of children, youth, elderly like us. Now, what is the logic here? Where is the symbolic love of country, love of people, love of God? My God, we are off the line. Please, let's focus. How could we enforce or to protect people from environmental hazards? That's the killing machine now, tolling the lives, property of San Diegans. Wake up, we are ready to take over.
We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with the first caller.
Hey, Truth actually got in. Tara's gone from smashing employees in the small building spaces to now smashing employees in the carpooling. Tara's trying to see what kind of Trump-style gutting she can do to have more tax dollars for her political pet project. We might as well call you Tara Trump. Sounds right to me, one of you queens. Gutting and cutting cars as always. Why not improve oversight and management of the county's union bonus kickbacks and quid pro quos using our tax dollars? Why don't you cut the project labor agreements to benefit your political campaign funders who do a really bad job with their work, just like this board? County employees can't wait to be tracked with GPS, I bet. And having a communist collective car ration system instead of having departments run their department. Having a track 5,000 minimum usage a year means employees are going to drive more, of course, just like in communist countries with Harvard standards. Fake it till you never make it. Funny how communists have zero understanding of economics. Are car prices going up or down? Always up, right? So should the county keep up or not? But of course, progressives see all this as other people's money. That's why they waste our tax dollars. Switching to dangerous and expensive lithium-based cars promotes the cancer-causing explosions. If you want to really reduce county retrenchment and county cost fiscal pressure, why don't you cut down on your 15 slaves to serve you coffee and make dumb social media videos for them Melissa posts? Somebody besides me GPS track the spending on that garbage. And since I was skipped on the last items, I'm using the rest of my time to say items 20 and 9 continued. Apparently transparency and defense can wait. And item 22, I'm using kickbacks withdrawn. How about just never bringing that back? What I'm seeing is, Tara, your agenda of meeting management has been worse than Nori, and she gave 2 minutes to speak on every item. Why does the county continue to treat Expo 1 meeting on 2 days as 2 separate meetings, trying to address general items on Tuesday and land use items on Wednesday? If it's truly 1 meeting, why not equally split the agenda?
Thank you. Hear from the next caller.
Hey, Gonzalo here. So with all that being said, I'm just reminded that there's never been a better time to leave a broken system and start a better one. But yeah, Dream on, Consuelo. Okay, so here we go. What I don't truly understand this item, but I just loved what Brother Cesar Javier said regarding, you all want to save money, but not lives, and, you like to ruin the futures of, our children, leave our children alone. Yes, please do leave our children alone. But you know what? It reminds me of something that I read last week. Imagine if schools actually helped kids identify their strengths by exploring their talents from a young age and growing their skills over 12 years instead of letting them all follow the same routine and leaving them confused. And that just also reminds me of how sick and incestuous the system of politics and corporations and the media and higher education, it's all like they're all in bed together. That's just a thought. I know it has absolutely nothing to do with this item, but you know what? These meetings are so boring, but I still have to show up. I'm done.
Thank you. Here's the next call.
Do you know why you do the things that you do? Why you push these agendas? Why you go ahead and try to reduce how much we drive? Why we're putting in bike lanes in locations that shouldn't have it, going to locations that aren't open to the public? I mean, I figured out why you went ahead and did that with Governor Drive. The reason why that took place was they needed to fix that road, but they don't have money for our infrastructure to fix the road. So that's why you guys play all these games with us, and you try to pull more and more money out of the normal people, because people with money are leaving California. People who can't, you're responsible for. And you're going to be responsible for more and more people if we allow fraud to continue to take place. They're going to go ahead and strip the money from you because they want to make more money. But all the responsibility, all the blame, all the hatred is going to go to you guys. If you're willing to go ahead and accept that, by all means, continue doing what you're doing. Because when that boiling point hits, I wouldn't want to be in your position regardless of anything. I am glad that you guys stopped me from running. I am glad that you used the court to stop me from running against Monica. I am so appreciative of that. Because I see the direction that we're moving to. And I see that
This is your third warning regarding staying on topic, so your time is now forfeited. This is your comments were off topic. Thank you.
Thank you. We're not here. Final call.
Hold I'll try to save a few seconds here so you can get out a few seconds earlier. Managing the fleet as a coordinated enterprise asset rather than a collection of separate departmental inventories makes sense. Although one must be really cautious in taking vehicles away from emergency services. However, I do not think that GPS trackers are needed or wanted. They may be expensive to acquire and install, and I think we can rely on manual logs to give us the same info for now. I mean, unless you find someone who actually distorts them or whatever. It also appears that county staff have already researched this issue and identified that 104 vehicles could be removed from the fleet. So why not do this and go from there instead of making all this big fuss about reorganizing everything? Plan ahead. Thanks. Bye.
on the item.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Montgomery Stepp, I'm happy to second. Seeing no comments, please vote.
Chair Lawson-Raven, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Okay, great, thank you all so much, it's 12:30, we turn to, sorry, it's 12:25, we'll be back at 1